The decade was the 90s. It was often remembered as a time of relative peace and prosperity. Bill Clinton was in office, and he found himself in some hot water. But we had a saying in the 90s, if you denied it, you supplied it. Blockbuster Video seemed to be the place to be on a Friday night. The rise of the internet ushered in a radical new wave of communication for business and entertainment. TV programming was full of wholesome family entertainment. In 1995, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series, and the Chicago Bulls had by far the best basketball team with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. And while a lot of the other kids were out playing sports or dreaming they were going to be basketball stars or baseball stars, I wanted to be a professional fisherman. So instead of watching sports every Saturday morning, I was watching TNN Outdoors. I don't know what it was about fishing that attracted me so much, especially at such a young age. Here I'm trying to catch some fish sticks with Mom. I spent every waking moment that I could, Saturday mornings, Sunday after church, and any day we had a break from school. This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have a loving family that supported my love for the outdoors. As I got a little older, our church group started having little tournaments, if you want to call it, and I became quite good at them, and I almost won every one of them. Eventually, I found who is now my loving wife, who shared my affinity for the outdoors and fishing. One conversation I would always have with my mom and to Taylor is getting a boat. At the campground that I worked at the time, we found an old rowboat that we made an agreement that I could use my hours of service to pay for the boat. We eventually found another boat that was a little bit more stable and a little bit bigger, but we had to put a lot of elbow grease in and spent many hours repairing it. We kept this boat for quite some time until life happened, we started growing up, and it was time to move out to a place of my own. As difficult as it was to part with this boat, as we've had many adventures with it, touring through the Claremont chain of lakes and to every little pond that we could find, we always dreamed that one day I'll have a bass boat. Just when I had thought that my fishing career was over, we were able to move out of our apartment into a rental house. This rental house was great because in the backyard it had a pond, and the fever struck again. My neighbors also shared the love for fishing, and one of my neighbors in particular had an old plastic boat that he was using, and he said, "Listen, Chris, if you can fix up this old plastic boat so it floats, you can have it. And if you know anything about me, I don't back down from a challenge, so game on." I ended up fixing up the boat, putting an electric motor in it, a fish finder, and 2 camouflage seats because camouflage, come on. And I was out on that pond from sunup to sundown every chance I got. This time it was a little different. Not only did I have my wife to share my fishing experiences with, but now we had our son.
What are you doing, bud? You did? You caught your first fish! Reel it in. Keep reeling. Yep, pull. He's heavy.
Heavy.
Whoa! All right, look at Daddy. Look at Daddy.
Hi.
Ryder, look. Is the sun bright?
Then once again, tragedy happened when the landlord sold the house out from under us, so we had to get rid of everything once again and move back to an apartment. Flash forward a couple years, we now are homeowners and we've become avid adventurers, camping, paddleboarding, the works. At one point, we were thinking about buying a camper to assist with these summer camping trips, to beat the heat and the rain, but then it hit us. We love the water, we're always on the water, and we don't have to have a reservation to go out on the lake. So I suggested to Taylor that, what if we could buy a boat for the money we were looking at a camper? And she said, you know what? That makes perfect sense. So I began my search on Facebook Marketplace. We had a budget and we had to stick to it. I wasn't expecting much, nor did I need much. I mean, after all, I did fish out of plastic boats and canoes and John boats with little electric motors. I found a few boats here and there that were in the budget. They did need some repairs and some work done to them. Cosmetically, they weren't the best either, but again, I know how to fix things and I can always learn a new trade. As I was scrolling, I came across one in particular boat and my gut twitched. I almost ignored it and continued on, but that feeling persists in my gut. I had to message this person. And what happened next was nothing short of a miracle.
I contacted this gentleman. His name was Mr. Ken. And I shared with him my love for fishing and the outdoors. And I sent him an offer. And I told him within that offer, I said, please do not be offended with this offer. I'm not trying to lowball you. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm just, I know we're worlds away as far as price go. 'Cause you have to understand that, the only reason that I'm contacting this gentleman about this boat is because my gut told me to. And like I said, my gut's never wrong. And I told him, please don't be offended. I'm not trying to lowball you. We're just worlds away. I completely understand if you don't even reply to this message. So I didn't expect him to reply at all, to be honest with you. And I continued looking around at different boats and stuff, and there was this other one, a little bit newer, a lot of bit newer, and real appealing to the eye. Looked brand new, one of these new fancy boats, had newer motors, and it kept saying all the buzzwords, new this, professionally done this, da 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 da. And my gut was screaming, no, do not get involved with that one there. And when I say my gut was screaming hard, I'm talking like, oh, there's a bite, I think. When I say my gut was screaming hard, I'm talking like my soul almost came out, grabbed me by the throat, picked me up and slammed me down through the floor. Like, that's how serious my gut was on this one. Do not get involved with this guy. So I didn't. I wasn't expecting anything. And then about a day later, I get a message. Bing! It's Mr. Ken. So he says, hey Chris, I got your message. I read your stuff, but I just can't do where you're at because, I just have too much invested in this boat. It's this, that, and the other, and I just can't let it go for that, which is completely what I what I thought was gonna happen anyway. So I thought it was gonna be a loss, and I was just gonna have to move on, and it is what it is. But then he said, but listen, you're the type of person I want to have this boat. After reading your stuff, I know you're gonna take care of it, and I know that it's not gonna be just another thing in your garage. Like, you're going to treat it and take care of it the way that I would want it to be taken care of. After saying that, he goes, but I'll tell you what, here's my offer. And he shoots me an offer, and let me tell you, my jaw hit the floor. Because little did he know that his offer was $100 under my max budget. So I was pretty dumbfounded at that point, and I said, Are you saying that this is the price? And I repeated back his offer. He said, yeah, that's what I'm offering you. So I said, okay, let me call my wife real quick, and we'll see what's going on. I said, babe, you wouldn't believe what just happened. She says, what do you mean? I said, do you remember the guy with the Ranger boat? She said, the really nice one? I said, yeah. I said, I sent him an offer, and he actually replied, because I showed her the message I sent him. And she's like, well, what'd he say? And I said, he just met us $100 under our max budget. I said, babe, what do we do? And she's like, well, what do you think? And I said, I don't know. Like, this is an investment. This is a big decision. You know, you know what they say, boat stands for bust out another 1,000, or it's just a money pit. And she said, but babe, she goes, this has been your dream since you were a kid. I said, I know. And she says, do you like it? And I said, well, you know, obviously if it's as good as the pictures, yeah, I want to go see it. I said, so what do we do? Do we go ahead and push the button on the loan and get that going? Or what do we do? She's like, babe, let me tell you what. This has been your dream since you were a kid. And I don't think we're ever gonna find a boat at this price and at this good of quality. She goes, I think if you're in, I'm in. I said, so you're saying pull the trigger? She said, I'm saying pull the trigger. So I pushed the button, money went in the account, and I messaged Mr. Ken back. At that point, I called my good friend Joe. And if you don't have a friend named Joe, you need one. Because all the Joes that I've ever known, great people. So I called Joe and I said, Joe, listen. I told him what was going on. And I said, I need somebody that knows more about this stuff than I do. And I need somebody that'll keep me in check, because I'm gonna be all sorts of excited about this, and if it ain't good or not a good deal, or if something's wrong, I need someone that's gonna be the one to hurt my feelings so I don't get drug into something that's gonna cost me more than it should. And he said, yep, I got your back, Chris. Let's go. So we look over the boat and everything's looking good. Joe's like, yeah, man, this thing's looking pretty solid. So we get out there and we take it on the water, and you know, it ran like a dream. Everything was good. And it was just funny. So we get done, and I look at Joe after Ken goes up and say, hey Joe, like, is that supposed to do that? Is that normal? Or is this supposed to feel like this or this, like that? And he's like, yeah, man, that's all normal. And, you know, Ken was telling me about the different things that was done to the motor, which made it run more efficiently and make it last longer. And, you know, everything looked on the up and up. So when Ken went to go get the trailer to go pack up the boat and everything, I looked at Joe and I was like, all right, man, this is it, do or die. Like, I like it. What is your prognosis? And he's like, thing's solid. He goes, I've seen brand new outboard motors that don't idle, and they're not as strong as that. He goes, I was listening for things to go wrong, or listening for things that were going on it. I can't find anything wrong, man. I think it's a solid boat. I said, all right, done. So we get back to shore and get back to Ken's house, and I look at him and he looks at me and I said, well, how would you like your payment? And we worked it out, and I took the boat. But that's not where it stops. That could have just been it. But we ended up becoming really, really good friends. So it all circles back around to why. Why did my gut, why was this so meant to be? Or, you know, however you want to say it, why? And I firmly believe in this. I believe it was Psalm 37. Talks about when we delight ourselves in the Lord. And I mean, let's just be honest, we can all work on that a little bit better, right? That He wants to give us the desires of our heart. And this has been a desire of my heart for years and years. And it just happened to have to be this time. You know, sometimes I'm not very good at it, but there's a waiting period in things. And I really believe that this boat was meant for me. When I was a kid, I said, I want a bass boat, check. I wanted a Ranger boat, check. This is a Ranger boat. And the new style, they're nice looking, they're nice, but I like this older style. It's a little bit wider, it's not as narrow. I don't know, this is what I grew up watching on TV, and now I'm in it. It's like, this is me, this is my thing, it's finally my time, and it's incredible. And I couldn't ask for anything more, you know. I've put some work into it, I've repaired some things, and I have some parts coming for some other stuff, but at the end of the day, I mean, this thing was an absolute gem, an absolute godsend. You know, I was really hoping out here on Story Time that it'd be like one of those fishing shows. Oh, there it comes. Oh, come on. He was a little one coming right at my spinnerbait. I was really hoping to catch something right here at Story Time and be like the fishing shows. But that didn't happen. Not today. But we're gonna go hit another lake, and we'll see what happens.
And then it hit me. Maybe fishing isn't about catching fish after all. Maybe it's about the experience, the exploration, the adventure. Maybe it's that peace of mind you get when you're on the lake early morning, the sun's just coming up, birds are chirping, and the water is slowly lapping on the side of the boat. This is your time to relax and unwind and forget about the things that are going on in the world and at work. And more importantly, it's about spending time with your family and making new friends that'll last a lifetime.
To the river we go, leave our worries on the shore and drift away. On the river we know, sometimes the perfect words are never said. You could change your mind when you're intertwined with the water and the waves. hope you find this place before you end your days. And if you see me out there, wave hello.